You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
All right, good evening. Welcome into Greenie Sports Cards Live, the world's first multi-stream broadcast for the hobby industry. And why is that? Well, because you are consuming this, as many of you do and continue to do each week, on multiple platforms across the social media universe. You may be coming to us on the X, the old Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, even LinkedIn, and other points in between, including eBay Live, where we host our auctions every Tuesday and Thursday night, and we will do that as well this evening with Alex. You can join him starting at 9 p.m. But for those of you who have not been with us previously, our first hour here, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Tuesday is filled with interviews, hobby news, updates, event-related content for the collectibles industry, and we continue to provide that week over week with, we've had Major League Baseball players, NFL alumni, collegiate athletes, influencers, and media folk of many different ilk, including inside and outside the hobby. So Greenie and I, Greenie will be here shortly with us. We continue to do this week over week and enjoy the conversation. It's an interactive show. If you want to participate on any of the streams you are watching, you can comment in those sections. We can see it, we can share it, and you can interact with us on any of those streams, ask questions, let us know from where you are watching and where you're participating, and continue to grow this thing as we do, as we have since late January of last year. So we've done this well over a year at this point, and we thank all of you for continuing to join us and support us. We appreciate our sponsorship, our participation in the events, in the content, and in the NIL space in particular, the custom trading cards. And so tonight we're going to welcome in Cat Petteys from the University of Connecticut softball team. Cat is the freshman player of the week in the Big East. She's off to a terrific start there for the UConn softball program. She is a member of the Greenie portfolio, the growing portfolio of well over 50 athletes at this point that are participating in the NIL program. So we'll talk to her about that and her journey going from being a high school star into Division I softball and what the game is doing these days. And we'll also welcome in Joe Wismerski again from Phoenix Sports Cards. We had a terrific conversation with Joe last week where he brought some insight, some hobby news, and some updates. And we're looking forward to bringing Joe back as a regular on this program. And he'll continue to share his knowledge and insight coast to coast out there from Phoenix to right here in Cleveland, Ohio, Twinsburg, actually, the worldwide headquarters of Greenie Sports Cards. And with that, we will welcome in the namesake of Greenie Sports Cards, Steve Greenberg, a.k.a. Greenie. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm good, Jeremy. I'm good. We're starting to warm up here in Cleveland, Ohio. The snow's starting to melt, and things are looking up. It's almost feel a little spring in the air, maybe.
A little bit.
Hey,
Yeah, I could actually see part of the driveway and a little bit of the back porch today, which has been buried for a good couple of weeks now. So I imagine here in Cleveland, Ohio, there's probably at least one, if not two more systems that will come through. It
oh,
will not shock us if opening day has snow here in Cleveland. So we're not quite thought out yet, but we are close. And pitchers and catchers have reported there's spring training ball taking place. There's collegiate softball taking place. We're going to get to talk to Cat a little bit here later. And we've come through the NBA All-Star break. So spring is not that far ahead.
no, I mean we're a week away from March Madness in the college basketball season. You and I will be fortunate to attend the MAC tournament as media guests, so we should have some pretty good takes from there. And not only that, this Sunday we're going to head to South Bend, Indiana, for the Notre Dame and Louisville women's basketball game, where we always have. Not always, but we this time have media credentials as well. I'd like to say always, but um, so we're going to go cover that game and some of the student athletes that we've made cards of, and take some pictures, get some quotes, and that should be a fun game. College game day, the women's college basketball game day will be live from South Bend, Indiana, Sunday. So should be a fun time going to that. But prior to that, and part of the reason that we're doing that is we're going to go to Shipshewana this weekend, the Friday, Saturday Shipshewana Card Fest. We spoke to Brad a couple weeks ago about this show, and 300 plus tables. So he's got it in a bigger venue in little old Shipshewana, Indiana, which is 45 minutes outside of Notre Dame, South Bend. So perfect timing. So we can go to this show, then we can head over to South Bend and catch the basketball game. So should make for a great weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be joining you at the game on Sunday. That is the number one team in the country, although they were defeated earlier this week, but still the number one team in Notre Dame. That place, Purcell Arena, when it is packed, is electric. I'm looking forward to experiencing my first game there in person.
Yeah, Adam and I were able to go earlier this year versus UConn. So, full circle with Cat coming on tonight. I know it's softball, but everything kind of ties together, Jeremy.
Yeah, you got to see Paige Beckers there earlier. You mentioned Cat Petteys. Here's a sneak peek look at her NIL card. Of course, Greenie Sports Cards providing that. This continues to grow well over 50 athletes at this point from a number of different schools, including the Ohio State University, Nebraska. We got players coming from Oklahoma, of course, Notre Dame, University of Akron, Kent State University, Cleveland State University, Ball State. The list continues to grow. The sports continue to grow. Football players, softball players, lacrosse.
We have a lacrosse from Iona.
From Iona. Yeah, and it's pretty amazing. So this model that Greenie Sports Cards is able to come up with allows the student athletes to benefit from that. Portion of the proceeds, it's really a split between the production side of it and the student athletes. They get to keep the profits from that portion of it, and so you can support their journey. You can get their cards, and we'll show you a quick clip of that, and come back and tell you where to get it.
Hi, this is Destiny Leo.
My name is Jordana Reisma.
Hi, I'm Betty Jasicki.
This is Nikki Purdue.
Hi, I'm Zuri.
This is Kobe Maples. We are using our name, image, and likeness to partner with Greenie Sports Cards to create our own trading cards,
which will help us grow our brands and let fans connect with us.
Go to greeniecards.com and order.
Each card will come personally signed by the student athlete and sent directly to you. You can help support our journey and celebrate the season by going to greeniecards.com to purchase our NIL cards.
Greenie has been producing card shows in Northeast Ohio for over 15 years. Whether you're a seasoned vet or new to card shows, Greenie has a show for you.
We very much appreciate your support. greeniecards.com.
And there's a sneak peek at Greenie Sports Card or greeniecards.com. Of course, greeniesportscards.com is where you can go for all the show information and company information, but greeniecards.com is where you can take a look at those athletes. And we said it continues to grow here. Notre Notre Dame, Wright State, Purdue. Pretty cool, Greenie. Seems like every day more and more athletes are signing up for this opportunity.
Yeah, we have a couple sites that we use that the student athletes are able to look for different opportunities, and we get a lot of requests, and we try to make as many of them happen as we possibly can. So yeah, I think I know we're over 50, but there's probably another over 20 that we're working on now that will be up soon. So I mean, it's constantly growing. I mean, that commercial that was put together, has student athletes from I don't know, I think there was 4 or 5 different schools, and like tomorrow night, for instance, we're going to head down to the Cleveland State women's game, and they're playing Wright State. So there's Olivia there in the top left. So we'll be able to see Olivia Brown from Wright State as she's in town to play against Cleveland State. So that'll be pretty cool.
It will be, and you could see the really unique part of this program is that every one of these cards, these NIL cards, come with a certified autograph from the athletes themselves. So it's just a unique piece. It's really cool to see this thing grow and the continued participation. So yeah, check it out, greeniecards.com, and we'll welcome Cat Petteys here in a little bit. A little bit later in the show to talk about her journey, and of course she's got a card available there as well. So Greenie, we talked about Shipshewana coming up this weekend.
Yeah, last week, but before you get to that, we just had Broadview Heights last Saturday, and I'm going to tell you something. It was completely packed wall to wall. I wish we would have had a drone there. And I'm going to have to talk to Ken Love about that. Ken Love Photography. So there's a plug for him. They told us that people were parking up front by the street. And now, if you've been to the Broadview Heights show, we are back behind the back of the building is the entrance. So people were parking in the front of the building all the way up towards the street. And I mean, it's a large parking lot. And there was not very many spots from what I was told. And the crowd inside obviously told you that there was probably no parking spots, but I mean, it was busy from open to close. When we opened those doors at 9 a.m. till, I mean, there were people still shopping pretty close to 3 o'clock. So yeah, that's one picture. I stood up on one of the tables and took a picture. And yeah, I mean, it was incredible. And there was a lot of people. They were buying, selling. And we talked about this last week, and there was a lot of Pokemon vendors and collectors there. So that is one of the hottest things going right now in trading cards. While not sports cards, they're still trading cards. So well, it's a game, but it is, people do buy and sell a ton of Pokemon cards, and it's pretty incredible. Like, I mean, and they probably look at the sports the same way and say it's incredible what we're doing with sports cards, but nevertheless, they're still trading cards. It's great mixing them both and having a great atmosphere at the show. And there are people that do both. I mean, Alex, who hosts the auction tonight, he's set up with nothing but Pokemon cards. Yet tonight he's going to be auctioning sports cards for us.
And speaking of Pokemon vendors, you've got the Great Lakes Collectors Convention coming up April 25th through 27th. That's an incredible show. You've got over 200 tables worth of vendors of all kinds, baseball, the Pokemon, the Lorcana, all kinds of different stuff. You've got media partners. You can see the media partners that were involved last year. You can see a bit of the participants that were involved last year as well. There's a big stage where sports talk and sports collectibles collide in their fandom, and you've got all kinds of interesting conversations and combinations of media and entertainers and athletes sharing their journeys. And then you've got hobby influencers up there and all kinds of interesting content. So it's just a fun show.
Yeah, no doubt. This will be the third one that we've done. I mean, each year it's grown. We're well over 2,000, approaching 3,000 people that have attended the show. And, this year, I mean, we expect bigger and better things. So, I mean, come on out April 25th through 27th in Independence. We'll have some surprise guests that we'll announce as we get closer to the event. But like there, Hayden Grove, who may have a new title to his name, by the time the Great Lakes show rolls around. So yeah, we look forward to that. We have our spreadsheet that we keep track of vendors, and we were looking at it today, and we have a lot of new ones already signed up. And I mean, we're getting full. I mean, we're not filled yet, but we're approaching, not almost close to where we were last year. And I know that the way you've built the floor out, we can add more and maybe even get close to that 300 booth space.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. So that, again, the Great Lakes Collectors Convention will be April 25th through 27th, coming up here at the Independence Fieldhouse. It is a 50,000 square foot venue packed with tables and mascots and entertainment and interactive games and festivities for the families. And of course, lots and lots of ball cards. You mentioned Broadview Heights. The hobby is strong. I saw some of the photos coming out this weekend. It was packed. And on that note, we're going to get some hobby news and updates here and welcome in our friend Joe from Greenie Sports Cards and talk to Joe and see what's going on. Joe, this is 2 weeks in a row. We are hoping to make this a consistent, regular appearance for you here on Greenie Sports Cards Live.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for entrusting
And there's Ray
to do this and give you guys updates on different things that are going on in the hobby. So thanks. Jeremy, I had a bit planned when we were going to go live. I don't know if Steve told you. My dad grew up in Stowe, and him and his brothers went the last time the Guardians made it to the World Series, and he had given me a program. He's like, see if anyone wants this. And so my plan was to have it up here in front of my face looking and saying, hey, the Guardians look good this year, but we all know how that turned out. So, but hey, they did. Bazana had a home run this afternoon.
Yeah. So look who's watching there. So we have James. Now, is he at the shop now?
Not. And actually, why I didn't have that for the bit, I was just orchestrating a deal for this. So for your guest, James is a great friend of the shop, and he is a huge Corbin Carroll super collector. Like, it is unbelievable. And these two gentlemen had walked in from California, and they had a Diamond Icon Superfractor auto of Corbin Carroll. And I had the I guess pleasure of being able to negotiate that deal, because I know James has always wanted to have a super and part of his collection. So that was kind of cool. And these guys, we showed as an Instagram, let me shout it out for him, AZ Corbin Carroll collector, that he shows all that kind of stuff off. So they were able to make the deal happen, which the card is going home to a good place. And the other shout out too is James is going to have the opportunity to show off his Corbin Carroll collection. And that is going to be on March 8th down at the Foundry Hotel, where Sports Cards Nonsense is putting on an event that we are them, kind of like live breaks that night, and just the ability for people to come and do kind of a trade night. So it's going to be fun. Something that you guys are definitely not new to with putting on shows. So
is that it, for Sports Cards Nonsense? Or is Mike Gio and Jesse? Are you going to get them both there?
So Jesse will not be there because he'll just be coming back from Ireland, but Mike will be there. He's coming with the family, and then they're from the West Coast who run Sports Cards Nonsense Breaks or SCN Breaks. They'll be there. Mama Breaks will be there.
Sure.
And Rip Valley, who's centrally located in downtown Phoenix, they're also partnering with us. So they reached out and they said, hey, you guys are two powerhouses in Arizona, and we'd love to have you guys there and bring your customers to check it out. And then actually one of the customers for Sports Cards Nonsense is a part owner of the hotel, so that doesn't hurt.
Very cool. Real quick, Joe, do you want us to pull you off and bring you back on with your bit?
No, I'm going to have to save it. I'm going to surprise you one of these weeks. Maybe.
All right. That ship sailed for today. But yes, we like we said, we're hoping this will be a regular thing where you can bring your experience and hobby news to the show, and you'll surprise us here one of these days.
Absolutely. So kind of piggybacking off of what we did last week and just kind of talking about different things that are new in the hobby this week and what is launched. Coming out now, finally, are the top Series 1 binders, which are cool. So if you are a collector and more importantly, maybe a young collector and you're looking for a way to organize your cards, these binders, they're a real hard binder. It's got like foam, all that kind of stuff, but it commemorates Series 1 2025. You can just buy normal 9-pocket pages and they go right in there. It's a 3-ring binder. It's a cool piece to have, especially if you're trying to stay organized. So those came out. And then also last week was a big week as Topps Chrome Football came back to the market. Topps Chrome Football, this is a great product. There's 4 SKUs for it. There's a Breaker's Delight SKU, which has less base cards, but it's going to have your autos. It'll also have parallels, but then you have your hobby box, which will have your autos, your parallels, and then also it will also have base cards in there for you. Then you have this, which is a monster box, which there's no autos guaranteed, but you could get some. And then they have the level below that is going to be the value box. And it's a great product to reintroduce Topps Chrome Football back to the market. And why this is significant is Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May. Did I say Caleb Williams? I think so. Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors. They're all exclusive signers in this product. So if you were to open what we have here, I'm sorry,
I thought the answer was going to be who are quarterbacks not available to the Cleveland Browns this year.
that would be a double. It could cover both of those answers. We would take that for the win. Prism, the other big product, Panini does hold the NFL exclusive rights as of right now. So in this product, all the players are wearing logos, but those players that I just named do not have autographs in Panini products.
Interesting.
So for a hot quarterback, you're going to have to go to the route of Topps, and you're not going to have the logos.
Okay. And that's it. You kind of you pick which one you want, right? You want the logos or do you want the autograph of Jaden Daniels?
And they're also bringing back like the rookie, the all etched rookie rush inserts. Those are going to be back in that product. It's a cool looking product. It's a chrome product. They have the refractors in there. They also, if you remember in Cosmic Chrome, or excuse me, Topps Chrome, the radiating rookies, they do have the radiating rookies. And that was in the video that you showed. That was one of the items that was pulled. It was a Marvin Harrison radiating rookie. The other side note for Buckeye fans, Marvin Harrison now will have autos in the next release, which comes out next Friday. NFL Topps Finest. That'll be his first rookie autographs in any product.
Interesting, because we know of his NIL disputes, the autograph contracting that he had. So good to hear that's whether it's settled or not, I don't know, but he's going to have autographs. So that's great.
Yeah, that's a big win. And then for this week, as far as the products that are coming out, you have NBA Topps NBA Midnight, which is going to be a higher end product. It's 2020, it's 23-24, so it's still considered Victor Wembanyama's rookie year. Obviously, there could be an impact with him being out for the season with the shoulder thrombosis, but there shouldn't be too much of an impact because it will be a higher end product. Kevin Durant has autos in there, and then the other big rookie is Brandon Miller for the Hornets.
Yeah, do you foresee the basketball products taking a little bit of a hit though with Wemby being out? Have you seen that? Are you still selling them?
We're still selling them 100% because people are still, they want to chase the product, right? So right now it's NBA Prism came out last week, and Prism's another big flagship if you're looking for rookies type of product. So I don't see that being a huge issue. But as far as I think the value you're going to see is when it comes to breaking, the Spurs aren't going to get that big of a
right.
I'm gonna guess. But really, anyone who knows basketball, when people are trying to compare this to Chris Bosh was in later end of his career when it stopped.
Right.
Wasn't 20 years old, and so hopefully the technology is advanced too, that he can be taken care of. And it stinks because the guy he's an all-world talent. He was
it's the face of the league.
Like, and for him to go down, I mean, it hurts the league for sure. But we hope the best for him, that he's going to bounce back, and it shouldn't be a big issue. The last update too, real quick, of what's coming out this week is this is the first product of the new year since Topps took over Marvel licensing. And Topps finest, it is X-Men 97. So this is a product that it came out. They're trying to get people really excited, but now the market has reacted to it. And so the prices are climbing daily on this product because they're looking for any, low numbered X-Men. So Wolverine, Cyclops, those type of characters. There's a whole list of villains that they're looking for as well. So it's going to be a great opportunity for people who are looking to get back into the market of non-sports to buy in. There are voice actor autos, but you're really looking for the low numbered parallels here.
Will they have superfractors? Do we know?
They will.
So my guess is a Wolverine superfractor will probably approach the Mickey Mouse type numbers, right? I mean,
I have to believe that. And I mean, and those might not, and this may be foolish to say, but I even think the Reds are going to go even higher, potentially, than a superfractor, just because there's 1 in 5 chances to get it. I know there's a 1 in 1, but there's just something with the color on those cards. Also, when that red border pops on it. So
yeah, that'll be a fun product. We did some of the Topps Chrome Disney, so I know the Marvel, and that's a huge collector base. So yeah, that'll be a fun one. What do you think boxes are going to cost on that?
What I've seen right now is you're looking at about $240.
Okay.
Box, and they're 8-box cases. So I really foresee the premium starting to peak tomorrow when it goes live. I know on Fanatics Live, in some cases, they're allowed to break the product early. And more times than not, in products like these, they'll do character-based breaks. So you're buying a character, and you would get all of the cards of that character. Sometimes that can be expensive, but to your point, a Wolverine, the opportunity to get a low-numbered Wolverine is going to drive a premium, because I'm not sure how much of this product was actually printed. We, as a Topps direct shop, we were offered 1 case. So unless there's some breakers that have a lot of connections with getting the product, it might be something that you just kind of get in and roll the dice if you have the opportunity to.
We're joined by Joe, Phoenix Sports Cards. You can see them, find them online, as well as the physical location in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be joined shortly by Cat Petteys of UConn softball team, Big East Freshman of the Week, to talk about her NIL card and her journey. Joe, what's the most interesting thing that walked into the shop or happened in the shop this week since we last talked to you?
So we did celebrate Hobby Rip Night on Saturday. And a quick, awesome story is one of those black packs that we opened last week, the Topps Big League packs. We took those, and then we also took Series 1 2023 packs, and then the Hobby Rip Night pack. We put that together. We gave it away to every customer that came in. We did raffles and giveaways. We had a customer that came in with his 2 sons, made some purchases, handed the packs to the sons. The younger one was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I'll open it." The older one was like, "I don't do baseball cards. This is that." So the little brother's like, "Open it with me, open it." So he's going through it, and the little brother goes, "Oh, look, I got a Yu Darvish to 75." And we're like, "Awesome, awesome." And the older brother's like, "I got a card that doesn't even have a picture on the front." Aha! So I turn and I look at him, and I said, "You're right. It doesn't have a picture. It's a redemption for an autograph. It's a red foil to 5 Bryce Harper autograph."
Pretty good.
And He's like, well, what do I do? I said, dude, you scratch it and redeem it. I go, that was your first baseball card you've ever opened. Like, you'll never forget that. And it was such a huge moment and huge hit. And everyone kind of was roaring and hooping and hollering in the store for it. So it was great. What you guys are showing pictures of right now, these are some of the highlights. And the gentleman, James, that we talked about before, he actually won the grand prize at the end. His name was drawn, and he said, you know what? There's some boys over there. He goes, have them do a pack war for it. And so they did a pack war, and it was for a Christian Yelich signed 8x10 Fanatics auto. And
terrific.
it was awesome. We said, hey, who's got the highest career batting average out of their packs? And the winner was Yordan Alvarez with a 2.97 average on his 2023 card. So that was pretty cool.
Very good. Well, very good. Yeah, the Rip Night was pretty popular around the country. I know you guys' shop was pretty packed, and I know we saw some pictures and videos, so that's terrific.
Absolutely.
All right, Joe, we appreciate you joining us 2 weeks in a row. I think that's 4 weeks we've gone almost coast to coast, Phoenix to Cleveland on that connection. So we'll see. We'll look forward to having you back next week or the next time you're available to join us.
All right, stay warm, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
That's Joe from Phoenix Sports Cards. We appreciate him joining us and Greenie just sharing some awesome hobby insight and perspective. Very cool, and we're excited to have him join us every week or whenever he can. So we're also very excited to welcome in our next guest, who is among the over 50 student athletes in the Greenie Sports Cards growing portfolio of trading cards. Cat Petteys is a freshman infielder at the University of Connecticut on the softball team. She hails from Vestal, New York. And during her high school career, she was a 4-year letter winner. She earned numerous accolades, including first team All-State, 3-time team captain, and an all-conference All-Star. Most recently, this week, she was named the Big East Player of the Week for softball, and we're very excited to welcome in Cat. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. We've been kind of watching your schedule. When are you in Connecticut or are you somewhere else?
We're in Connecticut right now, but it's been pretty crazy. This weekend we go to South Carolina, I believe. Yeah.
That's the life of the East Coast. There's not a lot of home games in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we've been traveling for 4 weeks now, and we have like 4 weeks left, I think. So it's pretty hectic.
But you don't get to play in the snow, so that's good.
Yeah, that's the plus.
Although I did see that one of your games did get canceled against our home team of Cleveland State.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think that they had some weather coming in, and so that they had to catch a flight earlier, so they canceled. But that would have been a good game for sure.
Yeah. So we hail from Cleveland, so we follow Cleveland State pretty regularly. They have a pretty decent program there, but we've been kind of following what you guys are doing, and I know there's been some tough games, but there's been some really good games that you guys have played so far this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're figuring it out. We're young. I mean, I'm only a freshman. We have a lot of young kids, but we're definitely we're gonna be good, I think. So.
How about this so far? Got through I think 8 games or so that led to the Big East Player of the Week honors that I mentioned. A huge game in particular against Jacksonville. You had a home run, 3 runs batted in, a stolen base, 2 runs scored, and at this point batting .458. It seems like you have not had too much of a challenge transitioning to the Division I game. How has that been for you, and what has been the biggest surprise going from the high school game to the collegiate level?
Yeah, like you said, I've definitely been getting pretty lucky so far, just starting out. But I think the biggest difference is honestly like the pitching. I know that I come from, I've faced elite pitching, but in college, it's very different. Like the strike zones and even like the pitchers, they know how to spin the ball a lot better, I would say. So for me as a hitter, like I've definitely had to adjust to that. But as you said, I've gotten lucky so far. But yeah, they'll definitely have its ups and its downs. But I've just tried to stay, keep the same mindset I had in high school because that always worked for me. So it's been going pretty good. But definitely that and just the atmosphere. I mean, you're playing with kids that, like our seniors, are obviously like 21, 22, and I just turned 19. So it's definitely interesting to play with people with so much experience. But I think that's what makes, a team pretty good in college. So.
You
You said
mentioned.
you
Go ahead.
said lucky. I think there's a decent sample size already. That's
Yeah.
pretty good, Kat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned facing the good pitching, and I'm sure at this level you have to watch some film and kind of prepare for those pitchers. One of whom is at Ohio State, Lauren, who you faced, and
Yeah.
Lauren, we are working with her for a card as well. She's pretty good. Huh?
Yeah, she is. She is very good. I know that Ohio State has another pitcher that just got really hurt. We had a chance to actually talk with them before the game, which usually doesn't happen, but we were warming up in the same like vicinity and we went over to talk to one of their pitchers who's currently out. I think she tore her tendon in her Achilles, so we were going over to wish her, the best and everything, and we had a chance to talk with their pitchers, and they were so nice, and it's just interesting to make those connections and be able to have those conversations. But yeah, she's very good. It's very good.
How hard is it to throw a no-hitter in college? Because she did that already.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. I mean, that's crazy. I saw that. I know there's a girl at LSU who did the same thing, and both of those are it's incredibly hard. I have no idea. I mean, thank God I'm not a pitcher. I could never do it, but I mean, God bless them because it's some hard work.
Okay.
Kat, the UConn softball team has had some moments of glory. Made the women's college World Series in 1993. Won several Big East conference titles. Made multiple NCAA tournament appearances. Amongst the pantheon of softball teams, there's UCLA, Arizona, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas A&M typically get mentioned in that. What was it about UConn that drew you to the school, and what is about the university that you wanted to commit there and be a part of that program?
Yeah, so I'm originally from North Carolina, like when I was younger. Mostly, I would say a lot of families in upstate New York, and that's obviously you said I went to high school there. And I knew I kind of wanted to stay in the Northeast. That was important to me. I wanted to go far from home, but not too far. Someplace it's a little bit of a drive, but not a flight to catch. And I did some visits. Obviously, I explored. I did schools in the South. I tried to get the full experience. I did smaller schools. I did bigger schools. And it came down to me kind of having a conversation with my parents and kind of reflecting by myself as to what I wanted out of my college experience, whether it was, did I want to go someplace and play at a really big school and see some time and maybe have a lot of fun, or did I want to go, someplace where I knew I would start and play every game, or someplace that was challenging, but that I wanted to, kind of make a name for myself. And I kind of landed on UConn being one of those top schools that was somewhere right in between, where it's definitely a place where I have to work to earn my spot. But I mean, as you named, I'm kind of trying to do that currently. But yeah, so I did a visit here, and from the moment I kind of stepped on campus, it's just something about the atmosphere. I know we have a really good basketball team, and the energy that comes with that is kind of something you can't get in many places. So when I came to campus, I just had a lot of fun with the girls. The coaches are just insane. There's a lot of things here that I think you can't get in most places. So it kind of just caught my eye, and then it came down to that decision, and this was the best place for me. But so far, I think it's working out.
So when you were growing up playing, who were some of the girl softball players that you were watching? I know you're a shortstop, but Jenny Finch was a huge name, and Kat Osterman and Jessica Mendoza. Like, did you watch all these girls growing up?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm actually, my dad wanted my name's actually, full name's Caitlin, but I go by Kat because my dad, was a Cat Osterman fan, so there's that connection. But also, when I was younger, I used to do like these little USA softball tournaments, and Jenny Finch was there at one of them as like a guest surprise coach. And I know that was like a starstruck in awe moment for me, because as a lot of other girls can probably attest to, like you grow up watching these people, and it's so crazy. I know for me, I'm a shortstop, but when I was younger, my favorite player of all time was Haley McClenny at Alabama. Center fielder, loved her. I don't know why, it was the energy or something, but she was my favorite player. And we have somebody on our team now who transferred from Oregon State. She's a junior, and I think she said she like had the opportunity to work with her through this convention, and just hearing those stories, it's so crazy, because those are people you looked up to, and they're part of the reason that I wanted to play college softball. So those things are just so insane. I know another crazy mention is Sis Bates. She played for Washington, and she's a shortstop, so that one's, a pretty strong connection. But I always thought she was the coolest person ever. So it's just crazy to see those people play, and then to be in a position where I'm playing at the Division I level as well.
When you go through those things and in the Big East tournaments, and I know that you haven't got to that yet, what do you aspire? Like what does the next level look like for you?
Yeah, I think I've been trying to figure that out recently as well, because now that I'm here, it's kind of like, what do I want to get out of it, and what name do I kind of want to leave, and what legacy do I want people to, think of Cat Pettis, and what are they going to think of? So I think for me, I mean, so far I've just been trying to create a little bit of a name for myself and earn that respect, and get kind of the stats to back that up. But just these little girls that come to our games, and I know in the fall was really interesting, because I was brand new. I didn't know what college was like, but even at our fall games, which a lot of people don't come to, but we had travel teams and little girls that would just wait until after our games, and they would have us sign their softballs and take pictures and all of those things. And I think when it comes to the next level, like that's the best part, honestly, is like you're playing this game, and yeah, you're playing it for yourself, and you really like it, but like you can see up there, I've always loved that part of the game, where there's these little girls that just absolutely look up to you, and it doesn't matter to them if you struck out or you hit 5 home runs. They just love the game, and I think that's, you get out of the game what you give. So I think that's the best part.
We're joined by Cat Pettis, a freshman on the UConn Husky softball team, Big East Freshman of the Week. Cat, you are a freshman, and with that, not only comes the competition and the playing, but literally the school part of that too, and the adjustment. And you're halfway through your first year of presumably moving away from home, living on your own, and all those things that come with the next step into adulthood. What have you learned about yourself so far, halfway through your first year in school?
I've definitely learned a lot. In high school, I hate to call myself out here, but I was the biggest procrastinator you can imagine. And I think in high school you can get away with it. I mean, there's certain things that you don't have to really focus on. But in college, from the second I got here, I mean, in the fall there's a little bit of leeway because you have a lot of free time. But definitely with season, and especially how much we're traveling, like school is something you really have to take seriously and be able to, procrastinator like me, I really had to figure it out, because that was difficult. I had to have like a set agenda. I had to actually write down my assignments for the first time, which I know probably makes me sound pretty crazy, but I definitely had to make sure that I'm on top of those things. And like I said, with traveling, like the exams, I think I miss almost every single one of my exams, and I have to, be on top of that and be able to email my professors and get to retake those tests at different times, and then figure out where that's going to fit in with our workouts and practices and all of those kinds of things. So it's definitely a big change, because I went from, being able to get by on passing tests and not studying, to actually having to have set study hours. I know I have a tutor in one of my classes just for like preparing for exams in the future, but those kinds of things are just things you don't really experience in high school until you kind of get here and you're thrown into it. And I've definitely learned a lot. And I think, honestly, I've matured from it, because you can't really be immature and try to do a college sport. So I think that I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm growing, and I'm getting better at it day by day.
How often do you get to sleep?
I try to get 8 hours, but
Yeah.
like I said, we travel so much, and we leave typically on Thursday mornings. And lately, our past 2 trips, we've had to, we're loading the bus at 5 a.m. for our flights. So those things get crazy. And I know when we travel back on Sundays, we don't have practice on Mondays. We get that as an off day, but you still have 8 a.m. class. So, I
Sure.
mean, it's just trying to figure those things out because you get back at like 1 or 2 a.m. and then you got to roll out of bed for your 8 a.m. class. So you don't have softball, but you still have to kind of figure out the academic piece. But I think it's all worth it in the end.
I think things like that will prepare you as your college career goes on, and you have to start somewhere, right? I mean, you come right from high school, and well, it's a lot easier, but the agendas that you have now in college, like you said, I mean, it's a college team is very difficult, and people don't realize that there's not just practice, but there's weightlifting and there's study tables, and you have so many things that you have to meet to be able to play, first off.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say I know we just had a big recognition night for during one of our women's basketball games. We went out at halftime and they recognized all the athletes that had above a 3.0. And I remember making a joke about how like for most regular students, that's something that's really easily achievable. But I think that it's things like that pointing those things out, especially as an athlete, it's not necessarily easy to do. We have a lot of things going on, and studying is something that we take pretty seriously at UConn, or at least as our softball program we do. And I think that those things should be recognized because as athletes, like you said, that's definitely it's a hard thing to do.
You mentioned getting 8 hours of sleep. You wear the number 8.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind the number selection or something to that?
Yeah, there is. I wore 19 my whole life. That was my mom's number. She wore it in college. My dad was a football player. He wore 56, so that one didn't really connect to me. But anyway, my mom wore 19, and I wanted to keep that number. But in college, especially, I know everybody does it differently, but here it's kind of you get the pick. They give you a set of numbers, and you get to pick out of those numbers what number you want. And I actually chose number 1 at first, and I got the number 1. And one of my close friends, who's also a freshman here, Bella Cruz, she had a story behind it, and she really wanted number 1, and I didn't know that at the time. So she actually got number 8 and I had number 1. And so I was like, you know what, you can have number 1 and I'm going to take number 8. And I remember talking to my coach about it. And in my head, like the number that I wear on my back is very important. And when I talked to her and I told her that I wanted to switch my jersey number to number 8, we kind of sat down and I had this conversation with myself about, the number isn't necessarily. I wanted to wear my mom's number because she was really good in college, or so she says. And I always looked up to that growing up. So I always wanted to, wear that number and make something for it for myself. And that's kind of what I ended up doing with the number 8. I said to myself, I'm going to pick this number, I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to make a name to that number. I'm going to have little kids that want to grow up and they want to wear number 8 because, they knew this girl who played for the University of Connecticut who was pretty good back in her day. And that's ultimately what I want to get out of it. So I think the story is just kind of that I wanted to, make the number something for myself, and hopefully that inspires somebody else someday. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting process of how I got there.
So far, people are starting to see the number 8, so it's a very good start to your career. When you were growing up, like, and Jeremy, you can pull that back up because that's what I'm going to ask about. So we talked to you through one of the platforms for NIL, and came up with this trading card. When you were growing up, did baseball cards? Did you ever see any? Did you ever collect any open packs? Anything like that?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it would be interesting if we had my brother on here. My brother and my dad were always big into trading cards, and baseball is obviously something that growing up was really big, especially as a sports family. That's huge for us. And I remember I'm trying to think of who it was. I remember my dad had this crazy baseball card that his dad, had when he was young and then gave it to my dad. And I kind of learned, I remember asking my dad one day, like, why is this so important? Why is it packaged, and why am I not allowed to touch it, and all of these things. And I found out that, trading cards are something that a lot of people value and can be sold, especially like, rare ones for a ton of money. And that was like something that at the time I was like, well, I don't understand how this piece of paper or whatever it is can be so important. And then when I had these conversations with my dad, he would kind of say, he grew up watching these people, and it's just it attests to the fact that, you know, a lot of people care about the sport, and when you make a name for yourself, things like this can mean the world to a little kid. Especially, I know my dad got it from his dad when he was little, and clearly it meant a lot to him because I wasn't allowed to touch it. So I think I learned from that, you know, it's things like this that can make it all the world's difference to somebody.
Did your family grow up Yankees or Mets?
Yankees, Yankees. Yeah, for sure. Still strong Yankees fan. We have a few kids on our team here from New York, or they like to say they're more Long Island. I'm more upstate, but we have one Mets fan, one Yankees fan. It's a constant battle. I'll say that.
So maybe your grandfather had a Mickey Mantle, maybe.
Yeah, it was somebody I couldn't tell you. I only know today's
Sure.
team, but it was somebody that apparently was really big. So
Yankees had a lot of great players in their day. As we're Guardians fans, we don't like that, but that's all right. That's what makes the collecting world and the baseball world so fun. Is you can watch your teams and root for who you like. But
yeah,
what's cool is what we're doing, and you know we've sent you all the information, so you've seen what we're doing. But for other people, we're going to print these cards. We're going to mail them to you. We'll show you, you know, and we'll have you sign them all, and then they'll get sent to all the people that have purchased them. So they'll get kind of a little bit of a look into kind of your life, and they'll get something of value with that as an autograph. And I know people love that. It's really cool and unique, and kind of something that you know we really pride ourselves on doing is giving a little piece of that fan connection by offering these.
yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting. I know before this opportunity came up, I was thinking to myself, like, I wish there was a way where you didn't have to buy an $80 sweatshirt to, you know, support somebody like me who's just starting off their career. And I think that this, when I looked into this and when you guys reached out, I think that it was a great opportunity. I think that this is exactly what, you know, college athletes, things like these are things that we should be doing because it's just a great way to, you know, get in touch with your fan base and these little kids. And it, like I said, it makes the world's difference. And it's not like you have to go out and buy a $100 water bottle. It's, you know, something that is just gonna get your name out there, and it's gonna be really important to certain kids. So I just think that it's a great opportunity. And like I said, I really jumped at this opportunity once I got it. So
Yeah, the whole name, image, and likeness. You know, everybody's learning it as we go. I mean, it's a new thing over the last couple of years where college athletes are allowed to make money on their name, image, and likeness. So, like you said, whether it's a sweatshirt or I don't know, a grocery store or a restaurant comes and you can do a commercial. The great thing is you're able to use your name to make a little bit of money, and you know whether you're the quarterback of the football team or you're the shortstop on the softball team. I mean, there's opportunities that are available, and I mean we're taking every chance that we can to offer these opportunities to everybody that plays football, to softball, to lacrosse, to basketball. So, I mean, we're enjoying it, you know, as much as a lot of the college athletes are enjoying it.
yeah, for sure. I think that it's a great thing too that women's sports and especially like softball and lacrosse and these things that weren't always recognized by companies, especially like trading cards. I know when I was younger, like I said, that story I told was of a baseball team, and that's typically I think what people would think of when they thought of trading cards was like a football, a basketball, or baseball. And I think that it's really interesting to see that nowadays we're kind of transitioning into women's sports and women's athletes as well. And I just think that overall that's something that's definitely going to catch on, and I think that this is just, you know, attest to that fact.
So viewers can go to greeniecards.com and pick up and pre-order Cat Petteys card that will be signed, along with that growing roster heading up over 50 student athletes and over 20 schools, where you can see that again from lacrosse to softball to basketball, football. Cat, Greenie and I grew up in admittedly a different world. You know, watching your typical men's sports, football, baseball, basketball is the big sports. In the last 2 years, as part of this evolution in the business, we've become huge fans of women's basketball in watching the game and taking it in and being a part of it and getting to see the game, know the players and the coaches. What can you tell us about softball at the collegiate level, and what do you want people to understand about this sport that admittedly is not as familiar to the public conscience, but is a really competitive game?
Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of people, baseball is like, the big thing that everybody used to talk about when we were younger. And I don't think people necessarily realize that softball, it's an up and coming, it's a growing sport for sure. I know in the last few years, like Oklahoma and the World Series is always on people's televisions. And that's really meant a lot because it's inspired a ton of girls to, get into the sport and stuff. And I don't think people realize that softball can become that name as well. I know that women's basketball is huge, which wasn't always big, and especially I can attest for University of Connecticut. I know that's a big thing for us as women's basketball. And with that being said, our women's sports, I think what we're doing here at this university is starting to bring awareness to those women's sports. Women's basketball started it for us, but softball is also up and coming, and I think that it's a really big thing that's going on these days in college sports, even like lacrosse. I know women's lacrosse is getting bigger, but those things that are not things that everybody recognizes. And softball, it can be just as fun and exciting as basketball. And I think that's what people don't necessarily always realize. They watch a basketball game, they turn it on, and they always have their favorite players. And I think it would be great to see in the upcoming years softball to become one of those big sports as well. And, to have those people that you want to watch on your television screen and to say that they play softball, it's going to be pretty cool. So.
I just saw a girl, I believe at Tennessee, threw a pitch 77 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They say that's the equivalent of 100 miles in baseball. Um, have you ever faced a pitch that fast? I mean, that's fast.
Yeah, we play them in 2 weeks. So
Oh, great.
yeah. So we saw that. I know we were on the bus and
Okay.
we all saw the ESPN clips and we all, saw the
Okay.
news, and it'll be interesting because we're gonna see her in 2 weeks, and so I'll have to come back and let you know because I saw that too, and I've never
She'll be
seen.
tired by then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. She'll be worn out by then. But
Yeah.
I saw that she threw that, and we've never faced. I think, the fastest you probably see typically in most collegiate teams, I would say, is 70, 71 is going to be the fat. You're like, wow, that's a fast pitcher right there. But then, like I said, we're going to face them in 2 weeks, so I'll probably come back to you with a whole new perspective once I hit off of her. So we'll see. But
How do you even prepare for that in the batting cages?
just swing with your eyes closed. No, I'm kidding. But we'll definitely have to set the machine to, the highest setting and try to figure it out. But it's going to be tough, especially with a pitcher that can not only throw that hard, but with movement. I mean, it's going to take a lot of getting used to. And like I said, a program like ours, we're not necessarily used to seeing that on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it would be great if we had her on our team so we could practice every day. But it'll be interesting. But I think just the machine's all you can really do. I mean, we don't have anybody that throws that hard, so we have to kind of
Yeah.
prepare. But it would be cool to see, how we do against them and if we can kind of hold our own. And I think that would be really cool, and I think it would definitely say a lot, especially because she's out there and in the news right now for how hard she's throwing. And so, if we can make something with that, I think that would be huge for our school and for our brand and our likeness overall. So.
Well, Kat, we really appreciate you taking some time to join us this evening. We are thrilled and excited to continue on this journey with you and continue to root for you. You mentioned perhaps inspiring the next generation, the kids. Real quick, as we wrap the show here, what's some advice, even in early on in your freshman year? What can you tell the next generation coming up about their dreams?
Yeah, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I mentioned, you get out of the game what you give to it. And I think that I didn't always appreciate that or understand that. And I know I am where I am because I worked hard, but I think it's important to start, telling young girls that what they're doing, it's not all for nothing. If you work really hard every day and you're putting in the consistent work and you have a dream, you can make something out of that because what you give to it is what you're going to get. So if you're working hard every day, you can definitely get to where you want to be. And it might be a long process, but I think that I didn't always realize that. And especially in college now, like I continue to have to work hard every single day because I want to get, I've been saying I want to inspire people and create this whole brand. So I've definitely, tried to create my image through that. But I would definitely say like that's a good quote to go by for young girls and really for anybody is you get what you give. So that's all I would say.
No, that's fantastic, and and a lot of people need to learn that. That is true. I mean, you will get out of what you put into anything, whether it's softball, basketball, or writing a book. I mean, yeah, you put the work in, you'll get recognized for it. And Last week was a great week for you, and we look forward to many more great weeks and accolades. And wish you all the success. And we're rooting and we're watching. I mean, ESPN3 is phenomenal. We
Yeah.
get to watch everybody play.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. But I know a lot of our games are streamed coming up on ESPN Plus, and especially the C1 will be
Or
out
ESPN
there. So,
Plus.
yeah.
Right.
So SEC Network for the Tennessee one, but that'll be interesting. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But I love you guys for giving me this opportunity, and I'm just so grateful that this experience has turned into what it's turned into. So
Cool.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Our thanks to Cat Petteys for joining us. Thanks to Joe Wismerski from Phoenix Sports Cards. Thanks to Haley behind the board. Make sure you jump on at 9 o'clock. Alex will be live on the auction on eBay Live. And Greenie, thanks to you most of all. And may the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, Jeremy, another week, another great show. And we thank Joe and Kat for taking the time tonight. And we look forward to next week. So, again, we appreciate it. And have a good night, everybody.